Hi, my name is Alexandra Gonzalez, and I was working with Juliana on the social interactionism theory. So, what is social interactionism? Social interactionism emphasizes that social interaction is important for the development of language and communication. It goes into how language is not something that is learned alone. It's something developed through interacting with others, whether it's through conversation, listening to instructions, stories, or engaging in discussions. So this theory highlights the ideas that cultural and environmental influences play a role in language learning. So this means that specifically for ELL students, their background, culture, and experiences mold the way they learn to communicate. So it's important for us as educators to be able to implement the English language in a meaningful way with teachers and classmates. So the social interactionist theory says that children learn language through caregivers and peers. For example, if we were to observe ELL students in a classroom, we might notice that with new words being introduced, they might find it difficult to understand at the start, but once they hear their teacher and then their peers use it repeatedly, they will then understand and begin to use it as well. And so with that, we are able to see how they learn through interaction. Something that I think we need to realize is that language is a tool that is used to help students express themselves, communicate, and build relationships. So it's more than just speaking. It's a way of connecting with others by sharing through communication. And this theory influences educational practices by promoting collaborative learning where students engage in discussions and interactions, like working with partners or in a group. They are able to practice in a very fluid and natural manner. So, social interactionism stems from Vygotsky's ideas on social nature of learning, connecting with the zone of proximal development.
This relates to ELL students because this theory is based on children acquiring language through active engagement and getting exposed to others' speech. They learn by listening, speaking, doing, and interacting with others around them. Incorporating this into your lessons provides ELL students with opportunities to practice their language, build confidence, and deepen their understanding. We as educators can create a classroom environment that allows students to collaborate and give them the tools they need to build their skills.
Our objective is that students can read a story or prompt and identify how multiple different people will react to it. We want our students to think beyond their own perspective so that they are able to discuss and share out how different characters might feel about that situation. The students will also be given a scenario with multiple characters, and we want them to say what they think each character feels and why. This will help them with understanding emotions and viewpoints. Along with this, we also have them compare and contrast the characters' feelings. They will also be given one word and a person and say how they think the person will feel about that word. And then after, we will also we will give them an object and then have them decide how different people will use that object. And then finally, at the end, we will assign them a scenario with the groups that they're going to be put in, and then have them create a poster that will explain the scenario as well as have the characters so that then they can present it in front of the class. The key vocabulary that we're focusing on are perspectives, how a person sees and understands things based on their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Narrator, that's the storyteller. Distinguish, how to tell the difference between things and recognize what makes them different from one another.
Have you ever disagreed with a friend or family member because you saw a situation differently? That's because we all experience the world in our own way. Today we will learn how to step into someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. First, let's look at the situation between Jenny and Jack. Jenny is excited to play soccer with her friends, but when she gets to the field, she sees her best friend Jack is already playing a different game with new friends. We have to think to ourselves, how does Jenny feel? How does Jack feel? Jenny might be upset or discouraged because she thinks that her friend no longer wants to play with her, or that he found new friends and maybe doesn't need her anymore. Jack might not have known how excited Jenny was. He also might have been excited since he met new people to play with him. Notice how in this same situation they both feel very differently. Now we're going to look at this next situation with Emily and Josh. They are sitting out at the lunch table talking. Josh is telling a funny story and Emily is laughing. But she soon realizes that Josh is actually making fun of one of her classmates. She then stops laughing. I want everyone to talk with a neighbor and talk about how do you think Emily feels and how do you think Josh feels. So let's first look at Emily. How do we think that she might feel? Maybe sad or uncomfortable, yeah. How does Josh feel? Confused? Maybe hurt? All right. Again, see the same situation, but they feel very different about it. How do you think they should approach the situation? Turn and talk with a neighbor on what you think Emily should do and then what you think Josh should do. And then share out whenever you're ready. Okay, Emily can explain that he shouldn't be making fun of people. What else? Josh can stop and ask Emily what's wrong. Good job, you guys.
Now we will look at putting ourselves in other people's shoes. So when we're looking at the situation, we will look at each person, how they reacted, and why. Then we're going to try out and hear each person's side. So in the hallway, a student accidentally bumps into another student. One student gets mad, but the other student doesn't know what happened. The student who was bumped into feels very upset and mad, but the student who bumped into them was distracted and feels bad. We can't say that either of them is in the wrong since we don't know them or what else had happened in the day, which is why we shouldn't overreact in these situations. What if the student who was bumped into was already having a really hard day? They got a bad score on a test, they have a lot of homework to do, they're in a fight with their friend. Being run into might make them feel even more upset, which is why they acted out. The student who ran into the student could also be distracted for the same reason, but instead of acting out, they're just upset and staying to themselves and distracted, which is why they didn't see the other student. We don't know what other people are going through, and that's why it's important to think about others' emotions when we are reacting. Alright, we're going to work on the next situation together. So with your partner or your neighbor, you're going to go ahead and share out what you think. So a teacher assigns homework on a Friday. How do you think the student's going to react? All right, can I get some volunteers? All right, so you're saying upset, angry, frustrated. Yeah, all those are valid. Okay, why might they feel this way? What do you think? I'm hearing that they probably had a lot of homework, that they were doing something fun that weekend, that they already caught up on all their homework. They want to relax, but now they can't because they have no assignments, yeah. So why do you think the teacher gave them more homework? So I heard students were falling behind, and so she knew they needed extra practice, and that maybe there was a test coming up so that they have to have more practice. All right, and then lastly, I'm going to leave you with a Question: how do you think that they can communicate to make sure that both sides understand the situation and come up with a solution?
People can even feel differently about a singular word. So let's look at the word rain. Can anyone tell me how rain makes you feel? Excited, right? Scared, okay. Anything else? Sad, one more. Happy, all right. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple different people and we will figure out how they feel about it. So the first one is a farmer. How do you think a farmer will feel about rain? Share out, anyone? All right, happy because it helps them grow their crops. All right, good. What about a construction worker? What would they feel about rain? Upset, all right. It might make a dangerous workplace, okay. What about a small child? How might they feel about the rain? Excited because they get to play in it, right? Okay. Last one. Let's look at a baby. How do you think they might feel in the rain? All right, confused because they don't have an understanding. All right, good job, you guys.
People can have different thoughts and uses for the same object. Let's look at a pencil. Share out what you use a pencil for. All right, most of you said to write. Okay, if you look at different people, we know that people might have different uses for the same object. I'm going to give you a list of people. You will think about how they might use the pencil and why they use a pencil. After, you're going to talk with your neighbors and then share out with the class. All right, a student. Okay, yes, a tool for notes. A toddler. Okay, I heard a toy to draw. And lastly, a gamer. No one knows? Yeah, it's useless. There is no need for them to use it.
All right, so now we're going to do a little group poster together. So you guys are going to get into groups of 3 or 4. You each will be assigned a situation and you have to summarize what happened, identify how each character feels and why, and then figure out a way to improve this situation. Be prepared to share out your answers and be creative and draw as many pictures as you'd like. All right, so for these scenarios, I'm going to do an example first. Group 1 is going to have 2 friends, Nate and Sophia, are playing a video game together. Nate is excited because it just leveled up, but Sophia feels frustrated because she keeps losing the game. Group 2 is going to do Sarah and Ryan. They are working together on a class project. Sarah wants to take the lead and organize everything, but Ryan feels like Sarah doesn't listen to his ideas and does everything herself. Group 3 is going to do James and Dylan. They arrive at the lunch table at the same time. James quickly puts his backpack on a seat and tells Dylan it's saved for his best friend. Dylan feels hurt because he thought they were all friends and wanted to sit together. Group 4 is going to do Sam and Luke. Sam asks Luke if she can borrow a pencil for the 3rd day in a row. Luke feels frustrated because he thinks Sam should bring her own supplies, but Sam feels embarrassed because she just lost her pencil and doesn't want to tell anyone. Group 5 is going to do Olivia and Logan. They are in the same class and usually work together on projects, but this time Olivia decides to work with a different friend. Logan feels left out and wonders if Olivia doesn't want to be his friend anymore. Olivia just wanted to work with someone new for a change. Alright, so here's a small example of what we expect from you guys. So for the example, I did Ben and Kira. They're playing basketball. Ben thinks that Kira is ignoring him because she isn't passing the ball to him. Kira feels like Ben is always taking the ball from her, so she isn't giving it to him. So you have to identify first how each character is feeling. So Ben feels left out and upset because he feels like he's being ignored by Kira, while Kira is frustrated because she wants to have equal playing time as Ben. So a small way to solve this problem is for them to just pause the game for a second and just talk about how they're feeling. So he can say that he's feeling ignored while she can say that she wants to just have equal time. So that way they can talk this out and then they can start passing to each other during the game. So this is just a small example. There's a couple pictures, so just add a little more detail into yours and draw whatever you like. Alright, here are the instructions for the group poster again. Remember to work together and be prepared to share it out for the entire class. You will be given about 5 minutes to do this.
Alright, we all have different experiences, which means we will all receive and see things from a different point of view. Just because students may be looking at the same situation does not mean they are going to feel the same way about it. So here are a few takeaways that I would like you guys to leave with. 1, everyone sees situations in their own way. The same experience will not mean the same to everyone, and that's normal. 2, language helps us share our perspectives. How we decide to communicate with others and the words we choose help let others understand what we want to share. And lastly, being exposed to different perspectives builds kindness and empathy, which helps us connect better.